I've got a question here that says, I'm starting tomorrow my online teaching lessons for the first time ever. So I'm sorry that I didn't get to this in time because you'll have already started your lessons. But yes, I've chosen Skype, but I'm really not sure if that's the best option. Do you recommend another best one? So if you're watching in the comments now, do let me know what platform you use as a teacher with your students, and let me know if you are a student, which platform your teacher uses with you, because it's very interesting how different our opinions vary, because I really like Zoom, but unfortunately a lot of issues have come out in the media about Zoom and security. So a lot of people are very afraid to use Zoom, which is understandable because there have been incidents where people have been able to hack into your computer essentially because of Zoom. So it is something to be aware of. However, I'm still a massive fan of Zoom. So yeah, it really just depends on what you need the platform for. So Skype is good. I think it offers all the basics that you need. So you can screen share, you can do video calls, you can do group calls. You can, if you upgrade, you can also share documents, although I find this to be really slow. So yeah, you can do many things on Skype. The issue is that you don't have things like annotation and whiteboard, which is what you have with Zoom, and that's what makes Zoom that little bit better, especially as a teacher. You have this whiteboard feature, and also when you play audio, it is so much clearer than Skype. As I mentioned in one of my YouTube videos about the software that I use when I teach, the audio, when it comes out of Skype, like if you're using Skype, okay, it's almost like the audio comes out of my speakers and then back into the microphone and then out of my students' laptop or device, whatever they're using. So the sound quality is not as good, while on Zoom you can share the sound directly and it's a lot crisper and cleaner is the audio. So yeah, there's that as well to bear in mind. There is no best platform. There's only the platform that's the best for you. That's all I can say. I've tried Skype. So Leonor says, I've tried Skype, but I was struggling with the connection the whole time. Again, it's all... One platform is not more reliable than the other platform. If you've got problems with connection, then it's probably your internet or your student's internet. In that case, so Skype is actually very heavy. It takes up more bandwidth. To put that in very simple terms, it uses more internet, right? It is a heavier platform. In that case, if you find the connection to be very slow on Skype, I highly recommend you switch over to Zoom. Yes, there are currently some issues going around about security and privacy with Zoom, but it's the next best thing that we have, that I believe is the next best thing we have. It's all down to personal opinion. So yeah, it's all personal opinion. But all I can recommend is if you're having problems with Skype, it's probably because it's using too much internet in some very simple terms. So switch over to a platform like Skype or like Zoom or Whereby. Spanish language coach, you're very welcome. I hope my tips help today. So no other questions there, which is great. Yeah, okay, there were too many students. So this is to do with their internet connection. If you're using Skype, I honestly wouldn't recommend Skype for large group lessons. I would recommend Zoom, okay? I wouldn't recommend Skype for very large lessons, very large groups of students. What else? There's a pop-up next to me. Yes, it's because I'm actually talking about that question now. So let me move on to the next one. So the next person here, this kind of isn't a question, but I thought it was really creative what this follower of mine is doing. I thought it was really nice. So, hi Emma, living abroad, I teach mainly online using Skype, Zoom and Viber. So Viber is a very interesting one because Viber is actually a messaging app similar to WhatsApp or Telegram, okay? Certainly Zoom is a top among them, but since many students use their smartphones with small screens, it becomes inappropriate. I know exactly what you mean. When I do live lessons, when I teach privately, I always tell my students, don't use your phone because I will be sharing documents. So they know that it is their responsibility that if they choose to use their phone and they cannot see what I'm doing in the lesson, it is their fault. They can use their laptop or something. I always recommend use a laptop or even a tablet just so you've got a bigger screen and they can actually see things. But of course, this isn't always the case, especially if people have been forced into a situation where they have to take online lessons. They haven't chosen to do them. So I just recommend that you bear it in mind when you create your materials and your documents. I will get onto that in a moment, but just make sure fonts are big, keep text very limited and very simple on the screen. Keep it like that, okay? That's all I can recommend. So yes, that's that one. Thomas here asks, thanks Emma, you're welcome. A quick one, I've got a kid about 11 or 12 who, when I usually go to him, okay, I guess you mean to his house, right? Loves playing board games. Now that I have to teach him online, I'd like to keep doing this. So you can still play board games online. It is very, very easy, very simple. I play board games with my students as well from time to time. So if you're a private student of mine watching, then you will know that it's completely possible to play board games. All you need to do is just adapt them a little bit using Microsoft Word or even Pages if you use Mac. You can use PDFs as well. So if you scan it, you can turn it into an image or a PDF and you can play around with it there. Let me show you what I mean very quickly. I don't think I have my microphone set up for this one because I just want to switch over my screen. Audio input, that's me. Switch to this one. Okay, let me show you this. So here is a really terrible sample of a board game, but you can see, imagine this is your board game, okay, that you've created. All you need to do is create shapes and you can just move these around, yeah? So if you start here, okay, you got 3, 1, 2, 3. Very, very simple. It's super, super simple to do this. All you have to do, insert, you go to shapes, you choose a shape. Once you've created your shape, you go over to, there should be another option up here. There we go, shape format. You can tell I don't use Microsoft Word that much. So over here, shape format, and then text wrap in front of text, bam, that is it. And then you can move these around and it's absolutely fine. So that's what I normally do. Switching back over. Terrible, I think it's passable. Yeah, I think I was being fairly modest. Honestly, it was just a very quick example to show how you can use board games. So yes. This person asks, I haven't read people's names because I don't know how to read usernames a lot of the time. But yeah, this person asks, do you know any virtual classroom or any website to use online where you can see each other and at the same time I can show them how to write something or another website, book, etc. So yes, I recommend Zoom for this because on Zoom you can annotate. On Skype, you can do the same, but you cannot annotate. You would have to find a way to draw on your documents and write on your documents and everything by yourself. Like Skype does not provide that for you. So it's something to bear in mind. But I would recommend Zoom for this because you can annotate documents and things. This person asks, I'm a beginner in teaching online. Oh, welcome to the online world. Could you share a bit more? For example, I don't know how to manage a listening exercise for my students. Okay, so personally, I find that there's very little difference between doing a listening activity in a physical classroom and doing a listening activity online, okay? With Zoom, I will keep using Zoom because I honestly believe it's the best platform so far, despite the security issues. But with Zoom, you can choose to share just your audio. So what will happen is when you're doing your lesson, at the very bottom, you will see a green button that says share. Click on share. At the very top of the screen, you will see two options. One says basic and one says advanced. Click on advanced. In that advanced section, you will see share audio only. Click that and it will just share your audio. Alternatively, if you don't want to go through all that route, you can just play the audio and it will kind of come out of your speakers and go back into the microphone and out of your student's laptop. But for something a little bit clearer and crisper, especially for a listening activity, I recommend that you either share your screen and play the audio, or you do the share audio in the advanced settings. It's not in the basic settings, it's on the advanced settings, okay, on Zoom. That's what I recommend there. How about just drawing on a whiteboard? Yeah, so Zoom has the ability to draw on a whiteboard. You can also save it as well. So if you want to write on a whiteboard, you can do that. There's also another really good app that I use. Well, it's not an app, it's a website called WWAPP. So it's like WAP. Okay, WWAPP it's called. If you type in that, WWAPP whiteboard, it will take you to a big whiteboard and you can just share that with your students. So if you're on Skype, for example, go on Skype, open the WAP website, then share your screen on Skype and your students will be able to see you writing on the whiteboard. What's really nice about WAP, if that's what it's called, is you can create a link and you can share it with your students so they can also write on the board. But the problem is that if you do that, they will be able to write on the board. And this is a good thing and a bad thing. Depends how much you trust your students. If you're using Zoom, you can revoke the control of the whiteboard. So if you allow your students to write on the whiteboard, or a student, maybe you just choose one to write on the whiteboard, you can change that later. You can stop the student from having the ability to write on the whiteboard, especially if you teach teenagers or children and they start messing around. But on WAP, you can't do that as far as I'm aware. Once you give them the link, they have full control over that whiteboard. So something to be aware of. What's really nice though is that you can save that whiteboard as a PDF or as an image file on WAP, and then you can send it to the students after. So that's really nice. Any other questions in the chat? I don't think we did. What games can you play with students while teaching online? So many, so many. As I've shown you, you can do board games, as I've just shown you. So I recommend taking games that you play in the physical classroom and being a little bit creative and finding out how you can adapt it. Because I always find, with very, very few exceptions to this, I always find that you can adapt physical classroom activities and make them into online activities. I've been able to do it so easily. You just have to be a little bit creative. And as teachers, it is a requirement that we are creative, okay? So use your creativity. Okay, so the next question. Hello Emma, how are you today? I'm fine, thank you. Would you please tell me about the aspects you think about when you organise a video, such as the scripts, the audience, the topic, etc.? So, I'm going to assume that this person is asking me about my experience of editing YouTube videos, like creating videos, editing them and so on for Instagram, for YouTube and so on. In my experience, when it comes to just doing my Instagram, Facebook and Twitter videos, which at the time of doing this live are all the same, I batch record. So I make a list of all the words that I want to record, and then I sit down with my camera turned on and I just sit, bam, 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 and I just sit and film them. Okay, I film about 30 to 50 words in one go. That's why you'll sometimes see in some of my videos, I have loads of energy, and it's probably because I've just started recording. And then you'll see in some videos on Instagram and Facebook where I'm really tired looking, and that's probably because I'm on word 50 of that video. So that's how I do those, and that's how I script those. When it comes to YouTube, I don't script my videos because I want them to sound more natural. So what I do is I take a topic, let's say, I don't know, the other day I did a topic about inversion, okay? So I take a topic that I want to talk about, I make some notes about that are really key for me to mention, and I pick and choose the information that I want to include, because the problem with YouTube and the problem with the internet is that people have very short attention spans. So the videos that I do are, I think, full of a lot of information. And what's really sad is that not everyone will watch all of your video, even though you have compiled all of this information completely for free in one compact place for them. They're going to be too lazy to watch it, okay? It's just how the world is. It's how people are. Our attention spans are short, okay? So I need to pick and choose what I feel is the most important to go in that video to keep it super concise and to make sure that my audience retention is high, okay? So plan what you want to go in the video and be very, very, very picky about what goes in the video, and do a little bit of research as well, because I'm guessing you want to start maybe a YouTube channel. Do a little bit of research into how to create a YouTube channel, how to create engaging videos, things like that, how to engage your audience. Look at all of these things online. There's a really nice strategy to follow called Hub, Hygiene and Hero. Have a look at that. Hub, Hygiene, Hero. Just type it into Google, have a look at that strategy, and it will help you create a strategy for your videos and for your channel if you want to start that. So yes. Another question, how can I record a video? Can you tell me about any applications? So I'm going to guess that you want to record your screen, right? Because if you're talking about recording a video, you can just turn on your camera, okay? So I'm going to guess you're talking about recording your screen here. I'm really sorry if that's not what you meant. When it comes to recording your screen, if you're using a Mac, so if you're using an Apple Mac computer or a laptop, you can use QuickTime to record your screen. If you're not using a Mac and you're using a PC, Windows, Linux, whatever, then I recommend that you use Loom. So Loom is completely free to download and use, and it helps you record your screen, and then it will save and upload your recording onto your Loom profile. You can then send a link to your students or to whoever so they can watch that video. So the downside, if you use QuickTime or any video recording software to record your screen, is that you need to find a platform to upload that. So you may use YouTube, and then you've got to go through the process of uploading it to YouTube and then sending the link out to people. Not everyone has the time to do that. So what you can do is use Loom. It will then upload it onto their platform, and you just send the link to people. So you're kind of cutting out the whole uploading process, and it does it for you. So that's that. Any other questions? Is Zoom free to use? Yes, it is free to use, but you do have to pay to upgrade if you want to have more than 2 people. So if it's just a one-on-one class, just you and one student, it's free. But if you want to have you and a group of students, then you will need to pay to upgrade. And it's something like £11 something per month. I don't know what that is in dollars. You can have a look online on Zoom's website. But you can only do up to 40 minutes if you have a group lesson on Zoom for free. After 40 minutes, it cuts the call. So you can just restart it again, but then you've got to go through the whole process of sending out another link and then joining again, rejoining, and before you know it, you've wasted 5 minutes because people are finding the link for the second part of the lesson, you know? So it's not really worth it, in my opinion. I would probably upgrade for pure convenience, but I know it's not always an option for people. So I really remember Korean language teachers on YouTube. It's really creative, and she created 4 characters when she teaches languages. Yeah, exactly. You can get super creative. And as teachers, we really are creative a lot of the time. It's a necessity, I think, if you want to be a teacher, in my opinion. You need to be creative. Okay, couple more questions. So Miss Alex English here asks, can I record classes on Zoom and send them to my students? Yes, you can record them and you can send them to your students afterwards. You can also do that on Skype. So if you want to use Skype instead, you can record your lesson and your students have a copy. Drawing pictures online. She says that she likes to play hangman with her students. I've already talked about whiteboards. You can use a whiteboard on Zoom and also on the WWAPP, the WAP whiteboard. You can use that as well. Do you happen to know about any useful apps for editing videos quickly? I do not do any editing on my phone. I am very much a laptop computer girl. Some people love doing everything on their phone, and I personally can't. I hate using my phone for very intricate, detailed work. I like a nice big screen. I like to see everything. So I do all my editing on my laptop, right? When it comes to editing my videos on Instagram and so on, I use iMovie. Okay, it comes free with a Mac or Apple product, let's say, because it's also on iPhones. For YouTube, because it's a little bit more complex sometimes, I use Filmora, Wondershare Filmora. It's not super expensive. I think it's around £60. 70 maybe, may have gone up, but it was around £60 at the time of me purchasing it. For some people that may be super expensive, but to put it into context, if you want to go with Final Cut Pro, that is £300. So for something like Filmora, which is incredibly similar, £60 is way cheaper. So I use Filmora for that. On phones, I honestly really cannot recommend an app because I do not use my phone for editing. I absolutely detest iMovie on my iPhone. I just hate it so much. However, I have used an app called InShot before. It's okay, but as I said, I personally don't use my phone for editing. I use a laptop or computer for editing. So, what is the best app to produce online materials? I really liked this question because you can get so creative when it comes to creating materials. So, the easiest way to create materials online is Microsoft Word or Pages if you're on a Mac, okay? Those are the easiest ways. Just use Microsoft Word to create your worksheets online. If you want to get creative and you want to make something a little more beautiful, I recommend using a website called Canva, okay? C-A-N-V-A, Canva. It's completely free to use. You can pay to upgrade it, but I've always used the free version. It's not really necessary to upgrade it, in my opinion, unless you feel the need to upgrade it because you want some other features, such as making transparent backgrounds. That's not something that I need and use. I have other tools for that. But if you're just making worksheets and materials, maybe board games, okay, I recommend Canva because it's free. You can create everything there and get really creative, and it's really nice. And it's free. You can't complain when something's free. Any other questions here? I don't think so. That's good. So, hi Emma, we're teaching in a school where people, this is really long, but this person was basically asking about the internet connection. So they said that many of their students from their school do not have the internet at home. And this is really tricky because if students don't have the internet, then you can't exactly say to them, right, well, I want you to download this app and do this. I want you to join me on Zoom and we can do a lesson together. If they don't have the internet, then what can you do? I suggest that the easiest thing they could do is if they can order some books in English, because in many countries you can still do online deliveries, right? See if they can order some books online in English, preferably some graded readers that come with audio, okay? If they can do that, then they can practice their listening skills with the audio. and they can practice their reading, vocabulary and grammar with the book. All right. If they can't do that, another option is the radio. So you can get apps on your phone. There was a really good one that I came across. I think it's called iHeart Radio. Again, it's completely free. You can download that. You will need an internet connection to download it first. But once it's downloaded on your phone, you don't need an internet connection to listen to it because it's a radio app. Okay, you don't need the internet to listen to it. Another thing you can do is get Spotify if you can pay for, pay for their, I think it's premium service, called Premium, isn't it? They have a premium service where you basically pay a small monthly fee and you can listen to music, podcasts, stuff like that, all offline. So if they can get an internet connection somewhere and then download that, upgrade it if they can, and then download a couple of podcasts and things while they're at home, they can listen to those podcasts, they can listen to those songs and so on. So yes, you will have to get a little bit more creative with these students who don't have an internet connection at home. But another thing they can do is practice speaking with their dog. That's pretty much it. But yeah. So I think I only have a few more questions left. So I just want to breeze through these because it's already past. Thanks, Emma, for your help. You're very welcome. I've been using WhatsApp with my students. So I don't mind WhatsApp, but I don't like people having my mobile phone number, if I'm honest. Can you imagine if I created a WhatsApp group? I would have people calling me, sending me messages and everything every single day, right? It's just not a safe app to use when it comes to your privacy, okay? That's why I recommend using Telegram instead. So with Telegram, you can create groups, very similar to WhatsApp groups, or you can create a channel. So in a channel, I find it much safer than a group on WhatsApp, simply because people don't have your number. They cannot get access to your mobile number, so they cannot call you and they cannot stalk you and whatever. Protects your privacy a little bit more. It's also one-sided, so only you can contribute to the group, to the channel, and other people cannot write inside there as well. So you don't have the chaos of opening your app to 1 million messages. As well, with Telegram, it's better than WhatsApp because you have a few more features. For example, not only can you share documents and things like that like you can on WhatsApp, but you have a feature where you can create polls, and those polls can be made into quizzes. So you can select one of the options from the poll to be the correct answer. So it's really nice if you send like listening activities and things like that, or reading activities, or you want to get students' feedback, test comprehension, things like that, and create a mini test. Then you can use that and you can create little quizzes. Also, what's really good is it protects the privacy of other people in your group. So if you are in a WhatsApp group, other people can get other people's numbers, they can pester them, they can spam them. So if you have a Telegram channel, people cannot do that, and you protect your subscribers, they're called on Telegram. You can protect your subscribers more than if you have a WhatsApp group. Okay, so I really, really recommend Telegram channels as opposed to WhatsApp. But there's so many things that you can do with Telegram. I also have a Telegram group, so if you're interested in joining that, I will put the link down below in the description if you want to join it. But you can see and get some ideas of how I use my Telegram group to help students for free. And you can maybe take some of those ideas and use them in your group as well.